I had a dementia resident patient who used to quote poetry all day long at the dementia unit. Her father insisted that the children speak Shakespeare every night at dinner, and so she just continued this habit right through. Great help. One of her favourite poems was Leisure. What is life if full of care? We don't have time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep and cows. That was one of her favourite beautiful poems. And then she'd come to the workshops and she'd say, you can think yourself into it. So she'd kept that cognition from her poetry, brought it to the workshops and helped the other residents with that same cognition. It was totally fantastic, an enormous benefit to the group. And certainly her demeanour, she was so feminine and ladylike and a real lady and sort of fitted the part of sort of quoting Shakespeare all day long, but she actually spoke poetry as if she was speaking. I mean, she didn't speak much. Her poetry was her speaking, but it definitely enabled her to keep her engagement going. And because she was so articulate with her poetry, and at this time when I was working with her, the rest of the residents were hardly speaking at all. I mean, we'd only just started the work. So having her there quoting Shakespeare while everyone else was pretty much saying nothing, it was actually good fuel to inspire the other people to speak, and the content from the quotes were fabulous to be able to, bring through to the workshops. Like, you can think yourself into it. Like, that's a fabulous quote. Now, by the way, that was a self-made quote. That wasn't a Shakespearean quote. Through her own cognition, she had developed that. You can think yourself into it. I mean, that says everything, doesn't it? Positive, negative, whatever, think yourself into it. So it was so motivating. Now, from that, really, the aim teaching with this work was to get context. That was where the effort lay. You'd have to draw it all in here, Shakespeare, poetry, quotes, draw it all in and bring context to it. And then the dementia resident is likely to imbibe, think, engage, get an interest and take it on board. So, for example, there were a lot of the nurses at the workshop, nurses and teachers, definitely the majority, most of the women mid-80s with Alzheimer's. So there was this one nurse in this position, and she used to say with the workshop that she loved the thinking. And she also said that with nursing, it makes you think and you get a lot of good friends. How efficiently put is that? Nursing makes you think and you get a lot of friends. Now, certainly you have to think a lot with nursing. It is not an easy job. It is definitely, it's physically demanding, but intellectually, mentally, very demanding as well. All the medications and the charts, and the workload is huge, multifactorial and busy as the whole day. So yes, it keeps you thinking, and you do make a lot of good friends. My mother was a nurse and she had lots of good friends from nursing. And I do notice at dementia units that residents who have been prior nurses, their nursing friends come in to visit them. Interesting. They're quite loyal to each other. There was one dementia resident, she'd been top of the class. She was the loveliest woman. She had quite advanced dementia. And her friends were really loyal to her and used to make note to make sure that we knew that she was very bright and that she'd been top of the class. And they wanted us to know that, even though it was apparent that dementia had really taken hold. So there's that sort of loyalty and respect of wanting others to realise, the person as they were in their heyday or at better times. And also there was another man, he was a farmer, and he used to say, yes, this thinking is good. This thinking in the workshops helps you to upgrade your thinking. Now that was an interesting way of putting it, because he was a potato farmer and he was always aiming to upgrade the potatoes and get a better price. And so when he linked this in with upgrading your thinking, it all made sense for him. So that's how you have to just sort of work into their framework, and then it can all come together. So yes, all in the 2 books, Residence Voice, Residence Rise, everything in the description below. Thank you for your looks, views, and please subscribe. Thanks.